Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks. Today, we are talking Thursday, January 23rd. The Splash Zone is back in your life. I'm going to have 6 NBA player prop picks for you guys to lock in, 4 of which, of course, are plus money bangers because that is how we love to do things. Before we can get into today's picks, we got to do a recap from yesterday, which ended up being a pretty good day overall. Now, the day started, and I thought we were going to take a bath. Ended up being pretty good. We got 3 of our 5 plays to cash. We did get Damian Lillard refunded, so that one didn't end up playing at all. But the 3 plays that cashed, pretty juicy odds on those 3 as well. Now, John Collins was just a normal one, but Jalen Duren, plus 150 cashed on his double-double. Kyrie Irving, 30-plus points cashed at plus 180 odds. So that, because we hit some juicy plays, was able to give us a profit of over 2 units yesterday. We did lose Miles Bridges on his points and SGA on his assists. He scored like 50 points, so he wasn't assisting in that game. But we'll gladly take a day in which we were over 2 units in profit. That now brings our total profit on the entire season. We are up above the 20 unit mark of profit. It's been a long slog of a season, but we are above 20 units, which I will gladly take. And let's hope that we can continue this stretch, closing out January, then into February and all that stuff. Everybody who's watching, I appreciate you. Make sure to click that like button. That helps me out a ton. Subscribe if you are not already. And then the question that I want you to answer in the comments is give me your favorite food cuisine. So I asked your favorite food earlier. I just want to know your favorite cuisine, because maybe your favorite food is tacos, but your favorite cuisine is Italian because you get pizza and pasta. For me, my favorite cuisine is Japanese food. I love sushi. That's my favorite food. I also love ramen. I love basically anything that is Japanese. So that's my favorite cuisine. Love Japanese food. Give me yours in the comments. And let's start talking bangers. So I'm using Props Madness, which is a tool that I use for all of my NBA betting. If you're interested in signing up, Props Madness, I put a link in the description of the video as well as the pinned comment. If you do sign up, it would help me out a lot if you used my promo code MODI, all caps MODI. That's if you want to support the channel. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. I can't make you do anything. So we have one game at 2 p.m. This is the France game being played in Paris. I do have a play in this game. This one is a classic fade of recent results. So I took Victor Wembanyama, and I took him on 30-plus points. So right now, if you want to bet his main line, you can get minus 125 on over 27.5 at DraftKings. Or if you want to pay a little bit worse, better odds, but a worse line, you can get over 28.5. Looks like the best offered price there is minus 110. For me, anybody that knows me knows I want to take that pumped up number. I got 30 plus. I was able to get that at plus 115 odds. That's at both FanDuel and Bet365. Now, by the time you're watching, that line might have moved one way or another. You actually might be able to get a better price just looking at these main lines here. But Wemby, 30 plus points. So right off the bat, it feels gross. He scored 30 points. On the season, he's done it in 9 of 36 games. So it's absolutely not a hit rate type of play at all. He missed it in the first 10, 11 games, and now he's missed it in 7 straight. So it's not been a good stretch for Wemby at all. If you look at his most recent games, he really just hasn't shot well. I mean, 7 of 19, that was after scoring 35 against the Nuggets. 9 of 22, 4 of 10, 10 of 17. This is his only game where he shot above 50% from the field and was still 2 of 6 from deep. 10 of 17, 5 of 19, 8 of 19, and 8 of 18. So he hasn't been shooting well at all recently. He's had a couple days off, which is good. This is all play on the matchup. The Pacers defense, you see that they're good guarding above the break 3-pointers, which is where the majority of the points come from for Wemby in terms of his shot zone. But if you look at the play types, they are the 7th worst defense guarding pick and roll man. Now they're good in transition, top 10 in transition, so he won't get a lot of transition points. But then below that, spot up, 5th worst defense guarding spot up. Free throws, they foul at the 7th highest rate in the NFL. Now they don't, or NFL, NBA, still thinking about football. Now they don't allow a lot of stuff on post-ups and stuff, but the top 4 play types, 3 of the top 4, they're really good matchup. And if you just look at the games for Wemby, and you can do this on Props Madness, opponent rank versus defensive play type, meaning how does the team he's playing rank against his play type? And we filter this in teams that are just in the bottom 8. He scored 30 or more points in 5 of 10 games. Now, one of the games he missed, he had exactly 29 points. That would be brutal if that ended up happening and he scored 29. But he missed it in the first 3, and then you see after that he cashed it in 5 of 7 games. And as you can tell, so the rough stretch that Wemby has been on recently, only one of those games was a good matchup against, and which was against the Chicago Bulls, which honestly is the best matchup you can dream of. They're literally ranked 30th in terms of opponent rank to DPT, which is how they guard the pick and roll Roman. So he should have had a good game against the Bulls. I bet him in that game, so I know that he had a bad one. But that was the only game in his most recent stretch of games that was a team that was a good matchup. All the other ones were pretty tough matchups in terms of guarding pick and roll men. And he put up 22 shots in that game. Like, if we just look at games where Wemby's taken at least 22 shots, he's going to have a good game more often than not. Now, obviously, that's like correlated. You know, the more shots you take, the more points you're going to score. But if you're looking at games in which he's taken 22 shots, he's scored 30 plus in 7 of 10 games. Again, he's only done that once in this recent stretch of games, which also happened to be all bad matchups. So I'm trusting that Wemby is going to show out on his home turf going back to France. Also, it's the best matchup he's had in a couple weeks now. So I think he's also kind of, I'm not going to say due because I hate when people say that. Positive regression, in my opinion, is coming for Wemby. So I took him 30 plus points. That's play number 1. I don't have a play here in the Blazers versus Magic. I want to look at the injury report because there are a couple guys questionable for the Blazers. I do have a play in this Raptors versus Hawks game. And we're going with Scotty Barnes, and we're taking him on his assist. So I got over 6.5 at plus 110. Right now, the best offered price on that is plus 105. I would still take it. As long as you're seeing a plus sign for Scotty Barnes over 6.5 assists, I would take it. Now, it's been an interesting season for Scotty Barnes. He's hit 7 or more assists in exactly half his games, averaging about 6.5 assists per game. So, like, this line is priced right at his average. Now, we're getting it for plus money, which right off the bat is a good sign. But the reason why I like this play for Scotty Barnes is because of who is not playing for the Raptors. And who is not playing is Immanuel Quickley. If you look at games in which he's played without Immanuel Quickley, that number goes up to 7.2 assists per game. So the number we need to hit, and that hit rate is 14 of 23 games. Now, I looked this up. He averages almost 14 potential assists per game in the games that Immanuel Quickley has missed. It's like 13.8 is the exact number. If we just look at games where he's had at least 13 potential assists, and 26 is not outlier, so let's call it like 13 to 20, just to be a little bit more reasonable. He's hit 7 or more assists in 12 of 15 games. Now, obviously, this is going to be correlated to help our argument, because the more potential assists you have, more likely than not, the more actual assists you are going to have. But 13 is his average. That is what he is averaging in terms of potential assists without Immanuel Quickley. And look at the games that he's gone under. 6 against the Warriors, 5 against the Bucks, 6 against the Timberwolves. So he's had hooked us twice in which he's had games in which he's had 13 potential assists in which he's gone under. I also really like the matchup for Scotty Barnes. If you highlight the matchup against the Hawks, this first, I'm pointing like you can see, but the first thing you see here is assists allowed, 28. The Hawks are allowing the 3rd most assists per game in the entire NBA. And if you look at, and this is what I love about Props Madness, another thing I love, you can look at players similar in terms of like their playing style. So similar players assists versus the Hawks. 7 of 11 have hit their assist prop over against the Hawks. Now, one of them that missed was Scotty Barnes, but Immanuel Quickley played in that game. So like if you look at that game against the Hawks, actually, no, he did miss that game. Excuse me. He did miss that game. He had 11 potential assists. They lost that game by 29 points, just got routed. So this is one of the games in which he did go under without Immanuel Quickley, but there's enough data here to make me think that this is a good spot on Scotty Barnes. I thought about taking his triple-double because his rebounds have been really good recently. It's like 11 last game, then he missed it in a couple, but then 12, 10. I did think about the triple-double, but as of right now, I'm just going with the assists. That's our second play. Third up, I do have a play in this Bucks versus Heat game as well. And I took Damian Lillard, and I took him on the assist. Now, Dame, we had him on the assist last night. That game got canceled. I thought that I was really, really happy with that play, so I unfortunately didn't get to be played. But I like his matchup once again tonight against the Miami Heat. So we're going to go right back to it. Now, for starters, I got this at plus 104 at Caesars. Looks like that line is no longer available. Right now, the best price you can get is at BetMGM at minus 110. I would check FanDuel because Props Madness doesn't pull odds for FanDuel. And sometimes FanDuel, if you look at alt lines or you go 6+, 7+, 8+, or whatever, you can get a better price. Again, I got this at plus 104. Unfortunately, that's no longer available. But I really like the look on Dame and his assists. So I like Dame. Like Dame's the type of guy where you really have to look at the matchup for him when you're looking at his assist prop. Like, as you can see, it's been really hit or miss recently. Like, he missed it this game, cashed, missed it, cashed, missed it, cashed in 2 straight, then missed it in 2 straight, then hit it, miss, hit, miss. It's like, it's literally like almost every other. Like, it's kind of funny. Missed in 3, cash in 3, miss, cash. But the reason why I like it is, and this is obviously kind of obvious, but look at the games. So we're looking at right now like a graph of opponent assists allowed. Look at the games where this number is high. It's more often than not when the opponent assist allowed is a good matchup. Those are also the matchups where game goes over. And if you look at the Heat, they're 20th in assists allowed. So they're not the best matchup in the world. They're not the Chicago Bulls, who allow the second most. They're not the Hawks, who I just mentioned, allow the third most. But if you just look at matchups against teams that are 20th and worse in terms of assists allowed, he's hit it in 9 of 14 games, averaging almost 8 assists per game. So, and it sounds kind of logical, but teams that are bad at allowing assists, you want to target those for Dame. That's not true of every point guard. Not everybody has this kind of graph that kind of works perfectly in good matchups. But one of the games he missed, he had 6, so would have given us the hook, but he had 18 potential assists. That's awesome. Another game he missed, 6 with 11 potential assists. Hopefully we get a little bit more than 11. But the Heat are a good matchup. 5 of 8 players with playmaking style similar to Dame have hit their assist prop over against the Miami Heat. That includes Damian Lillard, who had 12 last time he played the Heat. If you look at their matchup, last time he played the Heat, he had 12 assists on only 12 potential assists, which isn't great. But Giannis and Chris Middleton missed that game. So it makes sense that he was playmaking more. It also makes sense why his potential assists were so low. Obviously, we hope for more than 12 potential assists, and the 100% hit rate isn't something that's going to happen game over game. But with Giannis playing in this game, that's going to be more potential assists for Damian Lillard. So I really like this one. Dame assists over 6.5. Again, I got it at plus 104. I would make sure to check out FanDuel to make sure that you can get a better price than what we see the minus 110 at BetMGM. That was play number 3. Play number 4 and 5 are both in this Nuggets game. Kings versus Nuggets. For the first one, Jokic, I'm taking him on the triple-double. Again, I love Props Madness, but they don't have that market available right now. You can get Jokic triple-double at plus 120 odds at Bet365. This is a play I'm just riding with the Flames. Jokic, I mean, the rebounds, he's pretty likely to get 10 rebounds, so I'm really just going to analyze the assists. But if you look at Jokic this year, he's had 10 or more rebounds in like 80% of his games. It's a good matchup for his rebound prop against the Kings. 8 of 14 centers, similar to Jokic, have hit their rebound prop over. Jokic had 14 against them last time. If you just look at the center position in general, it's 11 of 15. So I'm very, very confident in the rebounds. Obviously, his over-under is 12.5. If he doesn't get 10 rebounds, that would be crazy. He's literally never had single-digit points in a game this entire season. If we put this number all the way down to 10, he has had 10 or more points in 100% of his games. So if he doesn't score 10 points, that would be brutal. So what we are betting on here are the assists. Now, he's been really good from an playmaking assist perspective recently. Like his last 10 games, he's hit 10 or more assists in 8 of his last 10. He's done it in 4 straight, and in both games that he missed, 9 and 9 assists. So he's had exactly 9, would have given us the hook both times he missed. When Jokic is on a heater like this, I honestly just want to keep riding that thing. And the matchup against the Kings is very good. Their assists allowed, you see that they're actually above average, 12th. But playmaking centers have had success against them. Now, there are only really 3 guys that compare, and one of them plays for the Kings and Sabonis. But Jokic, and that's important, in this exact matchup had 13 assists against the Kings. Şengün also hit his assist prop over against the Kings. You just look at the center position in general, which I get isn't perfect because like not all these guys play make like Jokic does. Not a lot of players in NBA history play make like Jokic does. But 8 of the last 11 centers have hit their assist prop over against the Kings. And we look at like Wemby, 11. Wemby, 6. Anthony Davis, 4 and 5 in back-to-back games against the Kings. And then again, Jokic had 13. It's a good matchup for Jokic. He's been awesome from an assist perspective recently. And it makes sense why the Kings are such a good matchup for Jokic assist props. Like if you look at the Kings defense, they're literally the worst defense in the NBA guarding spot-up shooters, which like, yeah, this is a good matchup for Michael Porter Jr. But spot-up shooters are basically pretty much always going to be assisted plays because someone's spotting up, either catching and shooting or they're attacking a closeout. More often than not, that's an assisted play. They're also the 10th worst guarding dribble handoffs, another play that's generally assisted. And they're the 3rd worst guarding the pick and roll man. Now, Jokic isn't running a lot of pick and rolls, but you kind of see why they're a good matchup for someone like Jokic and his assist prop. So Jokic triple-double is the official bet, but we're basically betting that he's going to get to 10 assists, which is honestly, like you can tell, the triple-double is a way better price because his assists is priced at minus 115, minus 109, minus 110, whatever. So this is our fourth play. As I mentioned, we're sticking in the same game here, and we're going with Malik Monk, and we're taking him on the assists. Now, I admit I struggled between debating Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. Honestly, Sabonis, and all three of those guys can hit their assist prop against the Nuggets. I ended up going with Malik Monk for a couple reasons. Number one, everything changed for Malik Monk when he was inserted into the starting lineup, which happened on December 1st. So I'm actually taking out these two games where he had 9 in each, which would only help our cause because I want to be, at least truthful with the data. But he's played 22 games since December 1st. And again, this is when he was inserted in the starting lineup. Since that time frame, he's hit 6 or more assists in 16 of 22 games, so a 73 essentially percent hit rate, averaging about 6.5 assists per game. But more importantly, he's averaging over 11 potential assists per game. Now, in terms of the odds, I got this at minus 113 at Caesars. Looks like that is long gone. I would still take it at minus 115. Only 2 cents of juice different. Minus 115 is good to go in my book. But it's a new role for Malik Monk. Again, he's averaging 11 potential assists since being inserted into the starting lineup. And if you just look at games where he's had 11 potential assists at least, he's gone over 6 or 5.5 assists in 15 of 16 games. Again, this is obviously going to be heavily correlated. Higher potential assists equals higher assists. But I just kind of want to highlight when he hits his average, this is how frequently he's gone over. And as you can see, the majority of those have been since December 1st, but it's 12 of 13 since that date. So only one time he missed 1 assist on 11 potentials is brutal. They lost that game by 27 points. They just got smacked. So for the matchup, right off the bat, 5 of 8 players similar to Malik Monk have hit their assist prop over against the Nuggets. That's a good sign. Nuggets in general literally allow the most assists per game in the entire NBA, literally 30 out of 30. And the reason why is because, Jokic is a decent kind of help steals defender, but just holding his space, he's not that good. So they try to be aggressive, getting the ball out of getting the ball out of the player's hands when the Nuggets are on defense, which leads to a lot of turnovers. It also leads to a lot of passing and a lot of assists. So honestly, any 3 of Sabonis, Monk, and Fox can go over. I'm calling my shot that it's Monk. Hopefully I'm right. And then one thing that I want to highlight here, the one game that these two teams played, this was after Monk got moved to the starting lineup, so December 16th. He had 10 assists in that game on 14 potential assists. So the 11 number that we are kind of looking at could even be too low because he had 14 last game, 10 of them converted to actual assists. That's a high conversion rate, but even if he gets 14 potential assists, I'll gladly take for him to get to 6 actual assists. So Malik Monk over 5.5 assists, I absolutely love. This is our 5th play. And then our last pick of the video, we are heading down to the Celtics versus Lakers game. And I'm going with one of the squarest plays on the board. It's Kristaps Porzingis. It's over 4.5 points. 4.5 first quarter points. If you can get over 4.5 points, that probably also will hit. But we're going first quarter points. So I got this at minus 113. You can still get it at minus 115. I would still take it there. No issues with that. Honestly, I don't love my analysis based on hit rate, but it's just a crazy line for Kristaps Porzingis. If you can get his first quarter point prop at 4.5, that's almost an auto bet. As you can see, just no filters. We're just looking at every single game he's played. 13 of 19 games, he's hit 5 or more points, and he's averaging 6. So we even have a buffer of 1 extra point if you want to take the over 5.5 because he averages 6. Now, the matchup against the Lakers is kind of hit or miss depending on what you look at. They're 9th best guarding pick and roll man, 4th best via free throws, average post up and spot up, below average in transition as the top 5 play types. But what I like is that Porzingis does a lot of work in the paint, as you can see, like 29% in the restricted area, 18% in the non-restricted area. And when he's playing teams that can't guard the paint, that is when Porzingis has his best game. So if we look at opponent points in the paint allowed, and the Lakers are the 3rd worst. As you can see, what's highlighted there, what's bolded, the PITP allowed, that's kind of bolded in blue. 3rd worst defense guarding points in the paint. And as you can see, just the 3 columns above that defensive rating, they're the 8th worst. D rank versus DSZ, how they guard his shot zone, which is actually the above the break 3-pointer. They're 11th worst, but then they're top 10 guarding pick and roll roll-man. But we just look at teams that can't guard the paint. Teams that are like bottom 8, bottom 9 guarding the paint. Whoops, I mean, this is even bottom 11. He scored 5 or more points in the first quarter in 7 of 8 games. He only missed it 1 time against the Bulls, which was just a bad game. I mean, they lost that game by 9 points. Didn't score at all. 0 of 2 from the field. Only took 2 shots, which is rare for him. Every other game, he's actually had... No, one game he did go 5. So one game he just would have hooked the over. One game he had 6. Every other game, 7 or more. So it's a really good play for Kristaps Porzingis. First quarter points. He's been a first quarter king for us dating back to last year. Hopefully that continues. But that's all we got. Couple leans that I want to give you guys that I didn't actually bet that I was looking at. In this Magic Blazers game, I wanted to bet Denny Advia. I wanted to bet his rebounds. Number one, he's been awesome as a rebounder recently. But I just want to know who's playing in that game. Simon's questionable, Ayton questionable, Kamara questionable, and then Donovan Clingan is out. So it's just a little bit too risky. If all those guys play, I'm not sure 7.5, even at the minus 110 odds, is worth it. So that's why I didn't bet that. In this Heat Bucks game, Giannis rebounds, I think, is a good look. I just, 12.5 at minus 125 odds is a little too rich for my blood, but it's a good matchup against the Heat. As you can see, like 2 of 5, similar to Giannis, but center rebound props. He's technically being listed as a power forward, but he rebounds like a center. And center rebound props do perform well against the Heat. And then I also liked Tyler Hero on his points. I would go 25 plus if you're betting this. It's a good matchup for him. 6th worst defense guarding pick and roll ball handlers, below average guarding spot up shooters, 10th worst guarding transition. That's play type 1, 2, and 3, where Tyler Hero's points come from. As you can see, guys similar to Tyler Hero have had success against the Bucks. Jordan Poole twice, Jordan Clarkson, Anthony Simons. The one guy who missed actually was Tyler Hero. The reason why I didn't bet it is there's like no correlation between when Hero goes over in good or bad matchups. Number one, you want to look at games without Jimmy Butler. He's honestly actually worse scoring. Now he's hit 25 points in 9 of 17 games, which honestly isn't terrible games without Jimmy Butler, who's out. So that's not terrible, but it is 3 straight, which is good, but some not so good games in there. But if you look at games that are like just good matchups, so the Bucks are bottom 10, both guarding his play type and his shot zone. So we look at the entire season against teams bottom 10 guarding his play type. He's only gone 25 or more in 4 of 11 games, so that's worse. We look at games against teams that are bad at guarding his shot zone. It's 5 of 14 games, still not that great. And we look at teams that are bad at both. So bottom 10 guarding both his play type and his shot zone. It's 2 of 3 games, or it's under in 2 of 3 games. Now, the only game in which he played without Jimmy Butler and against teams that are good matchup, he did go over. So like that's 1 game sample size. So I mean, a lot of logic makes sense to taking Tyler Hero. I just couldn't quite get to it. I think it's hard to know when it's going to be a Hero game and when it's not going to be a Hero game. The hit rate without Jimmy, a little bit above 50%, which is pretty good. So if that's enough for you, I wouldn't blame anybody for taking Tyler Hero. Other games, this Mavericks Thunder, I'm not betting as of right now because both teams are on a back-to-back. So we don't know who's going to play, what that's going to look like. This Bulls-Warriors game, there are a couple looks that I have that I liked, but I didn't end up betting. Lonzo on his points, I think is pretty good. He's been playing a lot more recently, like the beginning of the year, 14 minutes, 16, 18, hovering 20 and below, 22, and then down to 13. Recently, that number's gone up. Like you look at games in January, 22, 25, 24, 19, so a bad one, 22, 26, 25. So his minutes are going up. It's a good matchup for him. The Warriors are the 2nd worst defense guarding spot-up shooters. Lonzo, 80% of his shots come from 3-point range. And if I'm going to bet Lonzo, I would actually do it 3s, and I would go over 2.5. Because more often than not, when he's hitting 3 threes, more often than not, when he's going over his point prop of 8.5, it's because he's hit 3 or more threes. Like he's only gone over in 6 of 23 games, and he's hit 3 or more threes in 5 of 23. So only one time he hit his point prop and didn't hit 3 threes. You're getting a way, way, way better price on his threes, which is why if you're betting this, that's where I would go. He just doesn't quite have enough attempts. Looking at his games, like he's kind of hovering between 5 and 7. So we're asking someone to shoot 60 to 40 to 60% from deep is a little too scary for me. which is why I didn't end up betting it. But I wouldn't blame anybody who did. And then on the Warriors side, the Warriors seem kind of lost, and they only have one prop available. It's Curry. The Bulls are a team you want to target for point guard assist props. Now, Steph Curry's assist, I'm not touching it at 7.5. That's crazy. At anything, it'd be Schroeder, but he hasn't really been acclimated that well. So it kind of just ended up being a no touch. But that's all we got for you guys. 6 official bets for you guys to lock in, along with a couple leans. To do a quick recap of what we did actually bet, you can see it on the screen here. You can also hear me say it. It's Porzingis over 4.5 first quarter points, Malik Monk over 5.5 assists, Scotty Barnes over 6.5 assists, Dame also over 6.5 assists, Victor Wembanyama 30 plus points, and Jokic triple-double are my 6 bangers for today. I appreciate everybody for watching. Again, make sure to like the video, comment, let me know your favorite food cuisine, minus Japanese food. Subscribe if you're not already. Check out the links in the description of the video if you want to support the channel. Link to Props Madness, link to my Dub Club where I send all my bets out, only $5 a month if you want that. Again, I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.